snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So today I'm going to be doing part 1 of my Q&A session. I am currently holding a giveaway which is ending on the last day of February at midnight GMT time. If you haven't already seen that and you haven't already entered, I will put a little annotation so you can go and do that. One of the requirements for that giveaway was that people had to ask me a question so that I could then do a Q&A video for you guys, because you don't really know me that much, so I thought I'd just get some questions and tell you all about me. So we're just going to get started. I've got loads of questions, so this will probably be in 2, maybe 3 parts, depending on how many more I get. Let's just get started and see how many I can get done. The first question is from Kristen Taylor, and she asks, if you could travel to one place or attraction in the world, where would you go and why? I have 2 places that I would really love to go. They just sound amazing. They are Brazil, because I did a project on Brazil when I was in year 8, which is quite young, and it just sounded amazing. It sounded so wonderful, so colourful and vibrant and fun, and I really want to go there ever since I did that project. And then also I want to go to Japan. I just love the sound of it. It sounds like there's so many different cultures and areas of Japan, like the traditional side and then the modern side, which is all really technological, and I would love to go there. Both of these holidays would be very expensive though, so I have not gone yet, but one day, fingers crossed, I will go there. So that would be a dream come true. The Book Jazz asks, if you were going to write a book, what genre would it be? If I ever wrote a book, it would probably be a YA book, or possibly like a high fantasy book. I would really love to write a sort of dystopian YA. I know that's very sort of cliche at the moment, but I would like to write one that is a bit different to everything. I've never spoken about writing stories before. I do actually have some plans to write stories. I would love to get a published book. I'm sure everyone who loves books would love that, but I just haven't had the time to actually start sitting down and writing a story, and I don't know when I ever will. So hopefully when the time comes I will write an epic fantasy series, much like George R.R. Martin or Brandon Sanderson. I would just love that. I think that would be amazing to complete and just to have under your belt and say that you did that. I think that would be stunning. So yeah, I would love to do that, but we'll have to wait for the time to come and see if it ever does. Books and Strawberry asks, if you could only buy one book this whole year, what would it be and why? This was not hard for me after having read Way of Kings very recently. I would 100% buy Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, and I think that would keep me going for a majority of the year if I read it slowly, because it's going to be huge. And I'm just so excited for when that comes out, which is very soon now, next month, so I definitely want that as soon as I can get it, and I'm really excited about that one. Bria Ho asks, what was the first book that you remember reading and how old were you? There are loads of books that I can remember reading when I was little, because when I was a lot younger I used to have tapes, and I would have a tape on at night, and that would help me to go to sleep when I was very young. So I would have stories like The Owl Who Was Afraid of the Dark, Fantastic Mr. Fox, all those sort of middle grade stories. As I got a bit older and I started to read on my own, I was such a bookworm in school. I ended up reading Little Women in year 4, which my teacher thought was absolutely crazy. To be honest, I can't remember most of it, I just remember really enjoying it. So that's one of the few classics that I found in my school library, and I just read it and had a nice time reading it, but it was a bit random. Probably the first book I can really remember having an impact and making a big impression on me is Noughts and Crosses, which is by Mallory Blackman. It's a story all about racism, which I thought was amazing because I was quite young when I read it, and I just thought it was really well written and really dealt with the topic in a very sophisticated and inventive and fun style. I also had like Beatrix Potter the collection, and I had Winnie the Pooh collection with my sisters, so we sort of read through them. I really can't remember the very first, but the one that made an impression on me was definitely Malorie Blackman's Noughts and Crosses. So I think I was about 11 when I read that. So I guess I've kind of been collecting books since then, but I've only really had the money to start actively collecting them in the last few years, so yeah, now I've got far too many. But it's fun, it's been fun collecting them. Lauren Fuchs says, if your life were to be a film, who do you think would play you? I'm not very good with actors and actresses. I am absolutely terrible, to be honest, at remembering who is who, but I think that Shailene Woodley, who is currently going to be in The Fault in Our Stars, and she's also going to be Triss in Divergent film, she definitely is similar to me in my sort of shyer side, softer side. She would definitely represent that side of me quite well, but then I also have a bit more of a fiery side and more exciting side, which I think that Jennifer Lawrence would probably be good for. So if I could have like both of them kind of squashed together, I don't know if that's possible, but those two together I think would make a version of me pretty well, and in a way that would work in a movie, so that would be interesting to see. But yeah, my life wouldn't make a great movie so far, I don't think. Not much has happened. Obsessed Owl asks, what is the first book that you remember reading that made you cry? Again, I would have to say Noughts and Crosses by Malorie Blackman. Definitely, it's a hard-hitting book, and it's got some things that are quite brutal, and, you know, they're not soft, that's for sure. But then there's also been like The Hunger Games. When I first read that, I was fairly young, and that made me cry at one part of it. I'm sure if you've read it you can guess what part. I don't often cry at books, but just if I'm really invested in the book or if I'm really enjoying how it's going, then of course it will affect me if something terrible does happen. Emmy N asks, what are some of the most beautiful covers that you have ever seen? So I would definitely have to say that I absolutely adore all of the Brandon Sanderson covers, which are the UK editions by Sam Green. I think they are stunning visually, and I just think that you cannot beat his drawing style. I think it's amazing, so detailed and so intensely beautiful. I also absolutely adore the cover for The Bone Season. One of the main reasons that I actually ended up buying it is because of the cover. I really don't know what actually happens in the story except that it's meant to be good, but I just love this clock that is kind of elongated, and it's like hands of a clock, and it just looks so beautiful, and the type is just really interesting, kind of behind and overlapping with that clock, which I think is just absolutely gorgeous. And the contrast of the red and the blue is stunning, of course. Then Angel Maker by Nick Carraway. I think that the cover of this is absolutely stunning. It's got clockwork going on in the background, and it's got all of these wasps which are going around the outside, and they're golden and they're gold foil, and it's just beautiful. The way that the type gets progressively smaller and kind of goes into the centre like a vortex, I think that's stunning. And this big kind of, what is that, a gramophone? If it's a gramophone, then it's kind of like the music coming out of it, and it's all swirling and wonderful, and that is just a lovely contrast between the blue and the golden foil, which I think is so good. And then, of course, Ruby Red is another one that I absolutely love the cover of. I think the pattern of the silver against the red is just stunning, and it's really detailed and in depth, and I just think that the entire thing is beautiful. It's really balanced, and it's a lovely composition. The girl at the top is kind of very beautiful and picturesque, and there's London behind her, which is just beautiful. So yes, definitely all four of those are some of the beautiful covers that I own, and there are hundreds and hundreds more which I love, so I could never name them all, but that's just an idea. I love stuff that is balanced, that's harmonious, that has a good contrast of colours, or that just has really balanced type and is something a bit different and interesting. Definitely anything that's bold or attracts my attention, that will be something that I consider beautiful. The Deathly Three Hallows asks, what is the best holiday that you've ever been on and why? I would have to say when I went to Lapland. I was, I think, 8 maybe, quite a long time ago. That was probably my best holiday because I loved Santa Claus, and we went and we met Santa, the real Santa Claus, and he had my list that I had posted. It was amazing. I was totally in shock, and so was my sister. We were so happy. He gave us one of the presents off of the list, and it was wonderful. And then we also made snow angels. I remember our house was like a log cabin which had a beautiful set of stairs. It was all made out of wood, and it was just such a nice homely feeling to the place that we stayed. Had snowball fights, and we made snowmen. We went to the elf factory where the elves made all the toys for Santa, and we were in shock because we were little kids, and it was amazing. It was unbelievable. And we met some reindeers, we gave them carrots and we stroked them. We got a husky sleigh ride, which apparently I was terrified of. I don't remember that, but apparently I was terrified of the huskies. But definitely I had so much fun on that holiday, and it was just one of those times that I will never forget. And yeah, it was a very good experience all round. So 100%, if you've got kids and they're young, take them to Lapland because they will love it. Shapey asks, have you ever read a book that was really overhyped on BookTube, but when you came to read it you didn't actually enjoy it that much? If so, what is it? Yes, I read The Fifth Wave. I'm not saying it's a bad book, I did enjoy it, but the amount of hype that I heard about it, I thought it was going to be mind-blowing and amazing, and I just was not that into it for some reason. I just thought it was going to be a lot better and be a lot more unique and interesting than it turned out to actually be. So that was a little bit of a shame. Also, I read The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in the Ship of Her Own Making. I really liked the writing style for it. I thought the writing was stunning and beautiful and just really vivid imagery. However, I felt like it was so invested in beautiful imagery that the storyline kind of left the book, and it just didn't have that much of a storyline going for it. Obviously there are things that happen, I just felt like they kind of got pushed behind all this beautiful imagery that really was overdone. JP and Christopher Oni both asked who or what inspired you to start booktubing. I would say that Poland Banana Books and The Readables were definitely a massive inspiration to me. I thought that their videos were so well edited and put together. I think that Christine is just hilarious in how hyper she is and how funny she is to watch. I really think that she gets so excited about books that it's just wonderful to watch and enjoyable, and I just wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to make people laugh and make people enjoy reading and just have a really nice time talking to everyone. And then The Readables, her videos are just stunning in how well edited they are, and her graphics are just beautiful. She is a graphic designer. I am studying to be a graphic designer, and I think we connected on that level in that I just really, really adore and respect the amount of editing detail and time that she puts into her videos. I think that is just beautiful. Shapey also asks, what is your favourite restaurant or fast food place? My favourite restaurant is probably the Beijing, which is a Chinese restaurant quite close to where my mum lives. The food is amazing and the service is really nice. The restaurant itself is just really beautiful, so definitely that is cool. I do love some Chinese. Favourite fast food, I would probably have to say KFC. I absolutely love it. I don't get it very often, but when I can, I will. Burger King is kind of a weakness of mine, that double bacon cheeseburger. It just calls to me every now and then, and I just have to get one. Not that often, but just sometimes. Subway I tend to go to quite a lot because my boyfriend is in love with Subway, so we tend to go there quite a lot. As for like a little bit more upmarket, the restaurants I really like are Italian. I like Zizzi's and I like Pizza Express. I think they are really yummy, especially Zizzi's. Zizzi's is very nice. Danielle Merkel asks, what is your favourite series? This is a hard one because there are so many series that I absolutely am in love with right now. I absolutely love the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. The Stormlight Archive by him I'm also loving so far. George R.R. Martin books, The Song of Ice and Fire, I think that that is an amazingly in-depth series, and it's just Wonderful for anyone who loves fantasy. You need to read it, it's just amazing. To the Brett Demon Cycle series, I really am enjoying that. I'm so looking forward to the next book coming out next year. It's very underrated, so definitely check that out. So there are loads more as well. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. Preppy Bookster asks, if you could only read 3 books for the rest of your life, you can read them as many times as you want, what would they be? What? 3 books? That's just insane. I'm gonna go with a tactic for this one and choose long books that would last me a while. So I would say The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, because that is a long book and it's a really good book. I would also say The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, again really good, really detailed and really long. And probably The Painted Man and Game of Thrones. I don't know which of those I would choose, but I would have to go with both of them, maybe? Maybe, can I have 4? Can I have 4? Please? Mandy J, Tiamo Bella XOXO and Courtin Pages all asked, what is the best book to movie adaptation that you have ever seen? I would have to go with Catching Fire for the action. I think it was an amazing film. I loved it. I thought it was amazing the whole way through and I just really enjoyed it. So if you've not seen Catching Fire the film and you've read the books, I think it's so close to the books that it is just wonderful, and definitely check that out. Harry Potter, I know that that is not as close to the books, but I do think that they are iconic films and they are amazing. Definitely check them out if you haven't already. And The Book Thief is one that I saw very recently and it is just beautifully filmed. Stunning, stunning cinematography. It is absolutely so superbly acted. It made me bawl my eyes out. It was such a sad film. It's amazing. If you've not seen The Book Thief, you really, really need to. It is wonderful and I could not speak more highly of it. It is amazing. Phoebe Stewart asks, what is one of the worst adaptations you've ever seen? I would have to go with the Percy Jackson films. They're okay, but the books are just 150 times better, truly. I think that they could have been done in such a better way. Bookish Brits asks, what is your favourite reading memory? Watching my dad try and read Dr. Seuss to my little brother, and him stumbling over all of the words and getting all caught up in all the tongue twisters, and then me taking over and trying not to do the exact same because I had just been laughing at him. That was pretty funny. I really enjoyed that and I absolutely loved trying to battle our way through the Dr. Seuss because it's just so well written and funny, and rhymes are hard to say out loud, that is for sure. Bookish Brits also asks, what book is your favourite, most prized possession? I had to think about this for a while because I don't really have any sort of prized possession books, like nothing really antique or anything like that. I would just kind of go with my most expensive book, the book that I've genuinely wanted to pay £25 for, which is a lot of money for a book, and that was A Dance with Dragons, which is by George R.R. Martin, the hardback edition. I love it. I think it is such a stunning edition of the book, and it was definitely worth the money I paid for it, but yeah, it's so beautiful and it's just huge and it's amazing. So that's probably the most prized possession in the books that I own because it was expensive and it's beautiful and I loved the story as well. Hopper Popper 23 asks, what books would you reread again and again? I do not actually tend to reread books, but if I was going to reread books and if I had that opportunity to have enough time to read all the new ones and also all of the old ones that I already have, then I would probably read the Harry Potters again. I have been collecting the hardback editions and I really want the Chamber of Secrets, which is the only one that I do not have yet in my collection because it's really expensive every time I see it and I want to find it a bit cheaper. So I'm waiting out on that. Ellie Williams asks, who is your favourite author? In case you guys did not know, then my favourite author is Brandon Sanderson, 100%. I love his books. I think he is stunning. I think the magical systems that he creates are so believable and so scientific and balanced and harmonious that they are just unbelievably good, and the whole writing of the entire book and everything is just so wonderful, and I could live in all of his worlds and just be in awe the whole time. Ramblings of an Elf Pyre asks if you could recommend one book to all of your subscribers, no matter what their preferences are. What would you recommend? The Painted Man by Peter V. Brett, because honestly I don't think it matters if you like fantasy or not. I think the story is really detailed and fun, but it's not overly long, so it's not scary, and it's also just a really quick, fast-paced and interesting read. I love it, and I definitely recommend it to anyone who wants to give it a try or wants to start in fantasy or just wants a really good book, because I think it's amazing, and I'm sure that if you guys have similar taste to me, you will love it, so definitely check that out. Angel Band 1106 asks, what is your favourite genre of books or films? For books, it is clearly fantasy. I'm trying to branch out a little bit more into sci-fi and thrillers maybe, and just other things a bit different to fantasy, but I absolutely adore fantasy. I'm totally happy to pick up other stuff, but fantasy is what always gets read first. As for films, I absolutely love Disney films. I think that Disney was wonderful in its prime. I love all the animated Disneys. I like some of the Pixar films, not all of them. Toy Story, I love Bugs Life. I also absolutely love documentaries about animals, about sort of real life crisis or anything. Pretty much, I just love documentaries. I also love historical fiction. I really love The Tudors, the TV show, The White Queen, the TV show. I also love sort of Titanic. I think that that was such a good film, and obviously that is historical fiction. And then films that make you cry, again, Titanic and The Book Thief. Chick flicks, I like if I'm sort of in a fun mood and just want to put on a film for no reason, so I like quite a variety of different films, to be honest, and I'm quite happy to watch sort of crime thrillers or action or even a little bit of horror, although I am so easily scared that horror is one of the things that I have to be convinced by my boyfriend to watch. Angelbound 1106 also asks, do you play any instruments? For example, the ukulele at the start and end of your videos. A lot of people seem to think that I can play the ukulele. I really cannot play the ukulele. The person who plays that for the beginning and the end of my videos is my sister. She can play the piano, the guitar and the ukulele, and she is very good at all of them. I cannot play any of them. I can play the piano a little bit, and I would absolutely love to learn the guitar. I just don't have the time for it right now, which is a shame, but I would definitely love to learn it in the future. And yeah, I can play a little bit of piano, but nowhere near as good as she is. And we both sing. I would say that singing is probably my best instrument. Reading Obsession asks, if you could only read one book for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
That is an impossible question. There is no way to pin down one book for the rest of my life. That is just, no, that is not possible. So I'd have to like run along my shelves with my eyes shut and just hope that I found a really good one, because there's no way that I could actually choose one. It would just not be possible.
Lydia Thompson 98 asks, what are 5 of your favourite musical artists? I really like country music, which is a little bit obscure, I know. I kind of like sort of acoustic, country and pop. Those are probably my 3 favourite genres. So some of my favourite artists within those genres would be The Script. I absolutely love them. I think they're amazing. I have been to their concerts twice and they are just amazing. Lady Antebellum, I absolutely adore their songs. I think they are so beautiful and just have a really upbeat style. They are just amazing. Fun, I really like. I think that they are such fun songs. Enjoyable to sing. Pink, I think her music is phenomenal. I have loved her for years. She's probably one of the singers that I've loved for the longest. And Carrie Underwood, again for country, I absolutely love her singing. I think that her voice is impeccable and angelic, and she's just amazing. Lisa Aniela asks, describe your first week at uni in just 3 words. So I would have to go with crazy, fun and amazing. This is going to be the end of part 1 of the Q&A. I will be filming the next part when I've got a few more questions. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all again soon. Bye! Me and you gonna have a little